Hey, this is Eric Hunter here, and I want to talk to you today about how magic works. And this applies to pendulum alchemy, a type of magic and pendulum healing that I teach. It also applies to energy healing, which is another unrecognized form of magic. It also relates to prayer. So, any kind of prayer that you do in a religious context to ask for something is a form of magic. There are many other types of magic that are either recognized, like you would find them in a book on magic, or unrecognized forms of magic that this relates to. And I feel this is a really important concept for anyone who's doing anything that falls into the realm of magic. So I want to show you a brief PowerPoint that I created that I feel will explain this very well, so you get a really good understanding about what is going on when you do magic and how it actually works. Like, how does it influence reality? So the key thing to know is that magic makes what you want to have happen more likely to occur. So it doesn't guarantee that something is going to happen. It doesn't make it happen per se, but it just makes it more likely that it will happen. So let me show you an example of this. So let's just say here we go. So here's a graph I created. It says the likelihood of occurrence, meaning like how likely is something to occur. And on the y-axis here, on the bottom, it says definitely will not happen or definitely won't happen. This means it's impossible. There's no way it's ever going to happen. All right, then on the top, it's definitely will happen. It's like almost 100% certain that it's going to happen. So as you go from the bottom to the top, you're increasing the likelihood that something will occur, making it more likely that something will happen. Now, on the x-axis here, I have time. And then I have a red box, which is before magic. So this is what you want to have occur before you do the magic. And the green box is what you want to have occur after you do the magic. So basically, once it's green, it means it's going to occur, or it's more likely to occur, or it's what's happening with the situation of before and after. Okay, so let's look at the first example here. So in the first case, before you do the magic, it's kind of a 50-50 chance whether or not what you want to have happen is going to occur. Chance events, like random things, could influence it to push it one way or the other. But it's not really certain what's going to happen here. So when you do magic, after you do your magic, what happens is something that was, kind of equally could occur or might not occur, now there's a much stronger chance that it's going to occur. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it means it's more likely to happen. Way more likely than if you didn't do any magic at all. All right, let me show you another example of that. So an important thing to remember is that magic cannot make the impossible happen. So when people do amazing tricks with stage magic where they make people disappear or they levitate or something like that, real magic, you can't do that. Those are tricks and illusions. Same thing with like in the movies. When they do magic in the movies, it's very unrealistic. They have these very dramatic, impossible things occur. And in reality, magic is much more subtle than that. It's not as dramatic. It's not as over the top. So if something is impossible, like it's almost impossible to do something before magic is done, when you do magic, it becomes a little more likely that it will occur. But if it's impossible, it's basically not going to happen. So for example, like trying to win the lottery, it's extremely difficult to win the lottery because the chances are so stacked against you. So before magic, it's almost impossible to win it. Only a very few people will win it. After magic, you've increased your chance a little bit, but it's probably not going to be enough to push you over the top to actually win. All right. Now let's take a look at this though, but here is the catch. Here is the interesting part. What you think is possible may not be correct. So for example, you might think that something is impossible to do. You might say, man, I can never do that. It's impossible. There's just no way it could get done. But the reality could be that it's actually much more likely to happen than you realize. So you're like, well, it's impossible, but I'm going to do some magic anyway. And then you do some magic and then boom, it happens. And you're like, wow, that was a miracle. That's like a miracle healing. It's like a miracle event. Like, oh, I can't believe that it worked. So this is what happens. So what I always tell people is always worth giving it a try. You have nothing to lose by giving it a try, even if it seems impossible. Don't psych yourself out. Don't say, oh, I can't do this, it won't happen, blah, 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 because you actually have no idea how difficult or how easy slaying may be to occur. You may think it's impossible, but it may be more possible than you realize. A lot of people have limiting beliefs. Like they think they can't do something when you think you can't do something when you actually can. All right, so limiting beliefs. Also chance events, like you don't know what's going to happen. Other factors could come into play to make something that's very unlikely all of a sudden become very likely, because everything's interconnected. So you really want to try to do magic on things. All right, well, let me show you another example of how this can work. So like I said, magic is part of reality. It's not done in a vacuum. You're influencing reality with your magic. So what can happen is you can make something that's impossible actually work out by doing magic over time, and also by combining magic with real world efforts that you take, actions you take beyond magic, and also just chance events. So let me show you how this works. So in the beginning, the probability of something happening is pretty low. So it's down here on the bottom. That's before magic. You use magic, it's a little more probable. Then after you do your magic, let's say you take some actions in the real world, and then you do the magic again, it becomes more likely, because like things have shifted. So now, even before you do the magic, it's more likely to occur. You do the magic again, it becomes even more likely. And then you take some more actions, some more events happen, reality changes a little more, and then all of a sudden, even before you do the magic, it's more likely to happen. And then after you do the magic, it's very likely to happen, and then bam, it happens. So the perfect example of this would be like when I help people with court cases. Now, of course, I only help people who, are willing to do this for the highest good of all concerned. They're willing to surrender the outcome for the highest good of all concerned. I'm not going to do it just to help you win, especially if it's something that's immoral or something that you've done, or you're not living up to your karmic truth. So, but if it's something that's you're willing to surrender the outcome to the highest good of all concerned, I will help with this. And I've helped several people win impossible court cases, and it was exactly like this. So when the court case first began, it was like impossible to win. It just seemed like all the odds were against the person. We did the pendulum work. We did other forms of magic that were high consciousness magic for the highest good of all concerned. The person did their own personal spiritual work. They also took action, like they would get lawyers, they would show up at the court dates, they would go to depositions, do all this stuff. And then after the first round, they'd be like, well, hey, it didn't really work. Like, I'm still not doing well. So they would still be like down in this lower part. And I would just say, hold on, don't panic. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And they say, okay. So then we do it all again, more magic, including like pendulum, other forms of magic. The person would do their own inner spiritual work. The person would do real world actions, like following through with all of the legal necessities. And then boom, we get to the stage again, the person like, well, it's still not working. I'm like, just give it a try, just keep going. And then after a few more times, it would boom, we would have it, it would be a success, and they could win. Or, you get some other highly favorable outcomes. So really, really important when you're doing anything like healing, any kind of other type of magic where you want something to occur, don't necessarily give up on it right away if it doesn't work the first time. All right, so I am actually teaching a course on this whole subject right now. Now, most of you know me from my pendulum alchemy and pendulum healing work, but I currently have another program out that covers other aspects of magic, which I feel are really important for healers to realize. So I mentioned energy healing. That's a form of magic for sure. Any kind of energy healing, spiritual healing you're doing is a type of magic. But there are other types of high consciousness magic out there. And when I talk about high consciousness, I mean magic that you do for the highest good of all concerned. You surrender the outcome to the highest good, And these would be things that are level 200 and above on David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. So what other types of magic are there? Well, there's sun magic, moon magic, candle magic, sigil magic. There are forms of yoga that are magic practices. Specifically, there are some kriyas that you can do that have magical effects. The law of attraction is a form of magic. Third eye, you can use the quote unquote third eye to cause magical changes to reality. Astrocartography, believe it or not, there are certain forms of astrology when you apply them to cause change in your life, they are become magic. So like astrocartography is where astrology says would be a good place for you to live based on your astrology when you were born. And this can have a powerful influence on your life, which is a magical influence. Same with numerology. Numerology itself is not magic, but there are applications of numerology that are magical. So for example, like the number of the house you live in can affect you, and that's a form of magic. So you can choose the house, number, or see how it's influencing you in a way that's not understandable scientifically, which is magic. Prayer magic, like I said before, there are various types of prayer that are definitely magical practices. So magic is interwoven into religion extensively. Even a lot of religions that state that they don't believe in magic or that magic is bad or whatever, they do a lot of magic anyway. They just don't realize it. So there are various types of prayer that are magic. And also the most obvious one that everyone knows about, spells and incantations. Those are the most obvious forms of magic. So what I've done is I've created a program where I teach you very high consciousness ways to do this magic, because if you just go on the internet or go read books or whatever, a lot of it is very low consciousness. It's based on things like power, control, anger, revenge, things like that. Stuff that I am not down with at all. Everything I am about is for raising consciousness, spiritually evolving, the highest good of all concerned. So that is the emphasis of my course. And also as a scholar and academic, I want to define things and to give you a really clear understanding what is magic, what isn't magic, to help you see where magic is occurring in your life that you might not even realize currently. Like most people, if you read a magic book, they don't talk about energy healing. They don't talk about prayer or yoga for the most part, because they don't recognize it as being magic because they don't have a clear definition of magic. But once you understand what magic is, you can start seeing where it is in your life, start applying it, and then start getting results that benefit you massively while also helping other people. So this is really good for your spiritual evolution as a being, and good for your personal karma, and just good to help make you feel better about life, because you're empowering yourself. You're taking, you're using things that are possible to do in our reality, and you're influencing reality in ways that can help you while helping others at the same time. So if you're interested in this program, you can find it on my website, pendulumalchemy.com. It's called The Practice of Magic. So go to the courses section of the website, just click it. There's a full description of the program there. And I urge you to check it out if you have any interest in this at all. And I just want to thank you for being here today on this video presentation. I hope it was useful and that you get some understanding of how this stuff works. It's not like, you make someone disappear or you saw them in half and then put them back together again. That's not real magic. Real magic is subtle influencing of reality using various techniques. And this makes things more likely to happen that you want to have occur, which takes it out of the hands of chance and random events and stacks the deck in your favor. And you can do this in ways that will benefit you while also benefiting others in your sphere. And it can be a part of your personal and spiritual evolution, as well as your general well-being and enjoyment of life. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.